Let me know if this sounds like you. So you take a big trading loss, and next thing you know, your idea is to size up on your next trade because you want to win it all back. You can't accept those losses. You can't lose those gains you worked so hard for. So this next trade has to be that big winner. And then you start breaking all your trading rules again. And next thing you know, your entire account is blown and you are back to zero. I went through this so many times in my trading journey, especially in the first 3 years. I was doing nothing but blowing 1K accounts, and I could not figure out why. I mean, that's kind of a lie. I was just hard-headed. I knew why I wasn't winning or I wasn't successful is because I wasn't following a trading plan. I had no trading rules, and I was just all over the place. And I've been there, I've done that, and eventually I had to come to a point where I was so sick of losing, I was willing to do anything. And that anything was me creating this plan, which I'm about to share with you guys, on how I was able to reset my trading, reset my strategy, and start building back up from a small account because I was tired of losing so much money that I forced myself to start even smaller than I had before. And this is actually what helped me turn around my trading and finally become consistently profitable and stop those hamster wheels of big wins to big losses. And it really is not sustainable, and eventually you're going to give up because it's really hard on you. So if you want a way to reset your trading, if you're currently going through that, I sympathize with you. And that is why I'm creating this YouTube video to hopefully help somebody reset, get back to the basics, and start building up their small account again and actually make trading lucrative and fun, because it's not supposed to be about losing money and learning lessons. Eventually, you got to get to a point where you're ready to take the next step and become profitable. Let's dive right in. As always, I don't want to waste your time, but I do want to highlight that in the description box down below, if you are going through this trading seminar that I'm about to show you guys and you're having the question of, well, how do I get around the PDT rule? How do I day trade with a small account? I do have a free day trading seminar linked below. It's the first link in that master link called Day Trading Seminar, because I always get the questions on my videos of how do you get around the PDT rule and day trade with a small account. So if you are starting over, make sure to watch that. And I do recommend, if you want to, pausing this and getting a piece of paper and writing this down. You're 10 times more likely to retain the information if you write it down. So step number 1 is we do not want you to refund your account. If you just blew an account, you're back to zero. It is very easy for you to want to jump in with another $1,000 because, again, you're in that mentality on you want to size up to win it all back. It only takes that one trade, right? Getting it right just one time, and you can get 100% winner with your sized account. You can make it all back. I've been there. I've done that. Trust me, it might work. You might get lucky a time or two, but it's not going to help fix the underlying issue, which we will cover in just a minute. So do not refund your account. You're going to have to take a step back for you to truly fix these bad habits. Step number 2 is go back to where it all started. So this is very, very key and important because you need to figure out at what point, at what scenario in your trading journey did this start to happen? Did these patterns start to develop? And you might start thinking, well, it developed when I lost all the money, but that actually might not be the original cause. So for me, I know way back in my trading journey, I had lucky girl syndrome. So I got in the market, I was starting to make some lucky trades, and next thing I know, I was making really big gains with no trading strategy, which is just a horrible way to start out because you're just thinking, oh, this is that easy. And then you start sizing up, and next thing you know, all those gains are wiped out. So for me, where it started is I got lucky in trading, which caused me to start trading with a lot of money with no strategy and no risk management. And then I started to see those big losses, and it was just a hamster wheel, dumpster fire, whatever you want to call it, from then on. So where did these bad habits and patterns start for you? Where did you start losing a ton of money? Go back to, for you, it might be a couple months ago, a couple years ago. I don't know how long you've been trading, but go back to where it all started. And I also want you to dig deeper. Is there something going on in your personal life? Are you dealing with things, outside of trading? Because that will pour over into your trading and force you to make bad decisions. So really evaluate where your losses started, because that's the only way you're going to be able to fix these habits and bad patterns that lead to you blowing accounts left and right. We want to fix that, not keep throwing money into the stock market and just losing it all. So after you've done step number 2, and obviously we're not refunding your account right now, we're really just trying to dig into what's going on. Then step number 3 is you're going to create a rules-based trading plan. So you might have a trading plan, kind of, and I say that because most people don't have a written plan. They have things in their head that they try to follow sometimes, but they don't all the time. And I'm telling you, I want you to pause this video, get a piece of paper if you haven't done so already, and we are going to write a rules-based trading plan. And we're going to do that in just a minute when I jump on over to Thinkorswim and show you my rules I would use if I was starting from scratch and just blew an account, or basically what I did to actually just stop the madness, right, and start becoming profitable. So I'm going to show you guys an example of what that would look like. So I highly encourage you getting a piece of paper, something to write with before we move on to step number 4. And of course, we just talked about it. Step number 4 is trying this new simple trading strategy, which I'm about to show you guys, because I'm all about giving you guys things to execute on. They're not going to be overly complicated. You might be like, well, I already knew that. Well, good. If you know that, then you won't have any problem implementing it. So rule number 1 being, if you have not done so already, I made a beer money day trading video where I was trying to day trade SPY with only $100. So that's actually going to be rule number 1, is remember I told you guys not to refund your account. Well, you've got 2 options here. So rule number 1 is you either paper trade, but there is some issues with paper trading, right? It doesn't include the emotional concept of trading. So once you throw real money, it's a whole different ball game than paper trading. So if you are going to avoid the whole paper trading route, which I don't blame you because I also had an issue with that, then rule number 1 is you're only going to refund your account with 10% of what you were funding it with previously. For most people, that's about $1,000. So that means you're only able to put $100 into your trading account. This right here is going to be honestly pretty fun. It should be fun. It was to me because it takes the pressure off. If $1,000 is a significant amount of money and you are finding yourself constantly blowing accounts, it's going to do nothing but weigh you down. You're not going to be able to think clearly. You're going to constantly be making emotional decisions, aka leading to you blowing your account. So rule number 1, $100 into your trading account and no more than that. So we're going to say not allowed to fund more than that. So that's rule number 1. And these are things that I actually did, guys. So when I got sick and tired of myself blowing so many accounts early on in my trading career, these are rules. This is the exact process I used to help turn things around. So we're going to do number 2. And my OCD is going to make us put a dot here. No trading before 10 a.m. And I am in Eastern time right now, and so that is what I'm referring to, or the first 30 minutes of the day. So why did I put this rule, and I actually think this is the most important rule, is because the first 30 minutes of the day, especially if you're trading options, which if you have a small account, I highly recommend, like I said, checking out that day trading seminar. If you're not familiar with options, they allow you to trade with a smaller amount of money. And so if you're trying to day trade stocks with $100, you're going to have a really hard time. So I do recommend going to go check that out. But when I'm referring to my trading strategy, it is going to be options based. So this rule right here, I tell my members all the time, and it could be as simple as this little change can be night and day regarding your profits. But it really depends on, this is where it was important for you to go back and figure out where you're going wrong, to study your previous trades. And a lot of times I found for myself, I was getting so heavy with my size in the first 30 minutes of the day. It was too volatile. I wasn't able to act fast enough. And next thing I know, I was down about $1,000 before we were even into the first hour of the day. And so this volatile period is oftentimes a lot of chop. There really isn't any levels to play off of. And so avoiding the first 30 minutes was a complete game changer for me when it came to really trying to turn around my trading. And so this would be my rule number 2. And in my opinion, one of the most important rules, because if you're having a hard time, please look at the time of day you're trading and where most of your losses come from, because it might be the first 30 minutes. Okay, for rule number 3, only trading a max of 2 stocks. And typically I say 2 to 3, but I would prefer, honestly, it was 1, but we're just going to go in the middle, right? And we're going to say 2. So for me, that would be SPY and then one other. So I would highly recommend sticking to max 2 at a time, and SPY for me has been a consistent one. I trade SPY every single day because it's almost like if you're in a relationship with a person, right? You get to know that person after spending day after day with them. Over time, you can understand their personality, how they act, if they're upset, whatever it may be, right? You get to know them very well from interacting with them day after day. Stocks are the same way, or SPY is an ETF technically. But if you trade the same amount of stocks, let's say 2 to 3 every single day, you watch them them day after day, no other ones are on your radar, you're going to notice patterns and you're going to start to be able to trade those easier. A lot of times people are all over the place trying to day trade 20 different stocks, and that really can mess with their success. So really focus in on two. For me, I love SPY as like my number one, and then I'll choose one other one. So for this example, we're going to use Oxy. All right, so far our trading plan and trading rules are looking like we're going to refund $100 into a trading account, no more than that. So this is really focusing in on that beer money, I like to call it, or play money strategy. And again, if you haven't watched that video on SPY, that will definitely be helpful to watch after this, because it's focusing on day trading options with $100 using SPY, like I just talked about. Number two, no trading before 10 a.m. Eastern. The first 30 minutes of the day we are avoiding because that's the most volatile, the most choppy. Honestly, the first hour traditionally, but I've noticed as long as you avoid the first 30 minutes, you should be okay, because you're waiting for trend to develop, right? You have no data to use really in here, and it can just be very messy, too quick, and you can lose a ton of money, or at least that's what I found with myself. And number three is you're only trading a max of 2 stocks per day or per week, in my opinion. You're just focusing on 2 max. One of those I would prefer for it to be SPY, and the other one you can choose is maybe something that you're very familiar with, that you look at every single day already, and just focusing on those two. The last rule on this list, number 4, is use one trading strategy that makes sense to you. Now, I say this because there are probably thousands of trading strategies, indicators, all of this stuff on YouTube. Some of them are super complicated. And if it does not make sense to you, you are not going to be able to execute on it. So whatever strategy has worked for you in the past, pick that strategy, only use that strategy. I don't care if it's trend line bounces. I don't care if it's buying at support and resistance, if it's supply and demand. I also have a video on that, by the way. I have tons of free content for you guys to utilize and take advantage of. Whatever your strategy is, pick that one strategy that makes sense to you, that you can execute on, and use that. So for example, Oxy yesterday, I was using a trading strategy where I had my pre-market planned levels. So 59.98 was a key level that I had. I also, let me exit out of these trading rules. So in regards to the Oxy trade, I just pulled up the chart that I posted in the group so you guys can see what it looked like before the move actually happened. And so you can see I had a red line here near 58.57, and then basically I was looking left at previous support where we had bounced previously. That's where my red line was. I was looking for buyers to be present there for a higher support level to form, to then move into my range of 59.02 to 59.24, and eventually back to my level that I had predetermined of 59.98. And this is what I posted in the group before market even opened. Now you can see what happened. We caught support near 58.50. We moved into my range, and that was near 59 to 59.24, and then we shot right up to my key level of 59.98. So my plan that I posted in pre-market was me prepping ahead of time based on my strategy, and it worked flawlessly. And so that is going to be very important, especially if you have a small account and you're rebuilding, is you're preparing before market opens your key levels and your strategy. And if you see your plan work out like you had already predetermined, that's when you execute on it. A lot of times people are not planning, they're jumping in randomly, they have no idea where their key levels are, where support and resistance is, none of that is planned, and they're making bad impulsive decisions which lead to a ton of losses. So if you need to screenshot this, or if you wrote it down, kudos to you, because like I said, you're going to remember it more if you write it down. Following these trading rules, implement these things to try to help reset your trading strategy. And if you guys want to take it a step further, then what the next step would be after this is whatever trading strategy you pick, the one trading strategy. I can't do this step for you because I don't know what your trading strategy is. Then once this has been chosen, you need to create a separate rules list just focusing on the rules, your entries, your exits, your risk versus reward, why you would take a trade, why you wouldn't take a trade. All of that needs to be written down for this one trading strategy. And so that's going to be up to you guys. I highly encourage you take that next step because it's going to make all the difference when it comes to really trying to build that small account. And ultimately your goal is to prove to yourself that you can take this $100 and turn it into 2. Then 3, then 4, then 5. And in my opinion, you shouldn't have to refund your account if you're gaining momentum and you're doing what you're supposed to. If you keep blowing this $100, that means you're also going to blow $1,000. And there's no need to refund your account until you have proven to yourself that you can be consistent and follow your rules. And that wraps it up for today's video on how to reset your trading strategy. I really hope there was some value in here for you guys, and I wish you nothing but the best. I try to make as many free YouTube videos as I can. Like I said, I also have that free day trading seminar linked down below that I highly recommend you check out. Also, my other videos I mentioned, I've got a $100 beer money day trading video using SPY. Also have a lunch reversal video that might be useful for you, so make sure to go check those out. And last but not least, if you guys want the extra support and more help as I'm making this video, I do still have spots left in my hybrid trading community, which includes my 8-week program, A to Z, options trading, stock trading, penny stocks, large caps, my advanced technical analysis, my scalping strategies, how I plan my pre-market levels, and it also includes Discord access as well. That will be under the gold membership link down below underneath that day trading seminar. So make sure to check out the seminar first, utilize all my free content, but if you want that extra support, this is how you can work with me. Other than that, I appreciate you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next week.